Hello and welcome to Talk with Grok. It's story time. Today we're going to put Grok to the test when it comes to creative writing. Something that I think the AI chatbots do fairly well at. Sometimes I think they do better at fiction than nonfiction, actually, because of the things they make up. Do they write as good as humans?
Jeffrey, is the age of the author, has it come to an end?
No! No! And second, it has the words, "Don't panic," printed in large, friendly letters on its cover.
So when my kids were really young, I used to love to read them bedtime stories. But sometimes they would force me to make up the stories. And I'll be honest with you, it was pretty difficult to be just put on the spot and to make up a story. And I got nervous. I don't know why. It was just like, I thought that I would go in there afterwards and check up on them and they'd be on Rotten Tomatoes, like leaving me a bad review or something. I don't know. But they were intimidating, sitting on the bed with their little smiles and their high expectations. And wouldn't I love to have something like AI to help me, to be that assistant, to make up a little kid's story for bedtime? I thought that would be really cool, if I would have had that. So the first thing I'm going to do is put in a prompt to have it write a bedtime story. So we'll do that. Write a bedtime story of a boy named Connor and a girl named Megan as they turn into superheroes and conquer.
Once upon a time, in a small country house by a babbling brook, there lived two best friends named Connor and Megan. They were just ordinary kids, but one thing made them special. They had a secret tree in their backyard called the elbib tree. This magical tree grew the most delicious, glowing roots, which gave them incredible superpowers when eaten. Now, Connor and Megan were kind and brave, so they used their powers only for good. They would fly around their little town, helping people in need, making sure everyone was safe and happy. But one day, a dastardly villain named Dr. Gloom decided to take over the world, and he had his sights set on the elbib tree. Dr. Gloom knew that the tree's roots held the key to incredible powers, so he hatched a plan to steal them and become the most powerful villain in the world. He snuck into Connor and Megan's backyard and began to dig up the tree. Connor and Megan, who were fast asleep, suddenly heard a loud noise coming from outside. They quickly put on their superhero outfits, which were made of old bed sheets and blankets, and rushed out to see what was happening. There, in their backyard, stood Dr. Gloom, holding the elbib tree in his hands. He cackled with glee, knowing that he was about to become the most powerful villain in the world. "You'll never get away with this," shouted Connor and Megan in unison. Dr. Gloom just laughed and said, "Oh, but I already have." He took a bite of the glowing root and instantly grew to 10 times his size. He began to stomp around the town, causing chaos and destruction everywhere he went. Connor and Megan knew they had to stop him, but they didn't know how. They were just two kids, after all. But then, they had an idea. They ran back to their house and grabbed all the chocolate chip cookies they could find. They knew that Dr. Gloom had a weakness for sweets, and they hoped that the cookies would distract him long enough for them to come up with a plan. They flew towards Dr. Gloom, who was still causing havoc, and shouted, "Hey, Dr. Gloom, we've got something for you." Dr. Gloom turned and saw the two children holding a plate of delicious-looking cookies. His eyes grew wide, and he forgot all about his evil plan. He snatched the plate from their hands and began to gobble up the cookies, one by one. While Dr. Gloom was distracted, Connor and Megan quickly came up with a plan. They knew that the elbib tree was the source of Dr. Gloom's power, so they decided to use their own powers to shrink him back to his normal size. They flew around Dr. Gloom, using their powers to create a whirlwind of magic that wrapped around him like a cocoon. Dr. Gloom was so busy eating the cookies that he didn't even notice. Slowly but surely, Dr. Gloom began to shrink until he was back to his normal size. He looked around, confused, and then he realized what had happened. He let out a loud roar of anger, but it was too late. Connor and Megan had already saved the day. The town cheered for their heroes, and everyone lived happily ever after. And the moral of the story? Even the smallest act of kindness can make a big difference, and sometimes all it takes to defeat evil is a plate of chocolate chip cookies.
Well, there you go. And the thing about this is you could modify it if you wanted to. It gives you a draft. You could also iterate on this story, and you could be like, every time they eat from this ilbium tree, gives them a different superpower. And maybe you have multiple stories that you just keep playing off of and expand on. AI can give you, as a parent, that superpower to tell stories like it was difficult for me to come up with. Okay, we're going to do a clean slate here. We're going to start a new chat. Still keep it in fun mode. Because I think that's going to be just more creative. And we're going to give it another story. And this one is a little more dark, but it gives and it's not a children's story. Let me just go ahead and see what it does. Now, keep in mind, you can have a very, very short prompt. It's good to give it maybe a genre, a basic direction. You can give some characters, but it doesn't take this big a prompt. But I wanted to go ahead and see what it would do with more guidance. And so we'll see.
Once upon a time, in a bustling city, there lived a young couple, Sarah and David, who had a beautiful daughter named Sophia. As they both had demanding careers, they relied on technology to help raise their precious child. They meant well, but as the years passed, Sophia missed out on the love and affection she desperately needed. Every year on her birthday, however, Sophia was the center of attention. Surrounded by her parents, friends, and family, she would blow out her candle and make the same wish to have more time with her parents. As the years went by, Sarah fell ill and passed away, and aging David was left in the care of his now busy daughter, Sophia. She decided to purchase an AI robot to take care of her father, thinking it would be the best solution for both of them. At first, David enjoyed the company of the AI robot. It could engage in conversation, play games, and even cook his favorite meals. But as time went on, he realized it could never take the place of a human being, and he longed for his daughter to spend time with him. One fateful night, Sophia received an alert from the robot that her father needed medical attention. Caught up in her own world, she silenced the alert and continued scrolling through social media, knowing the hospital would be automatically notified. But fate had other plans. The power went out, and in the darkness, Sophia lit a candle to see. The flickering flame brought back memories of those birthday candles and the wishes she had made. Overwhelmed with emotion, she rushed to the hospital. By the time she arrived, it was clear that David's time was short. They spent his final moments together, both filled with love and regret. It was the happiest day for both of them as they finally found the connection they had missed for so many years. As David slipped away, Sophia knew she would carry the memories of that day with her forever. She realized the importance of human connection and vowed to never let technology take the place of the love and affection that only a family can provide.
All right, so it did create a story that I think wasn't too bad. Do I think humans could do better writing? Yeah, of course, I think so. Now, my son now is a writer and a good one, and so I'll be interested after I publish this to get his take. So a few things. I'll just make a prediction. I think there'll be more and more in the future. I think content will be labeled on how much AI was involved in making the content, what percentage. And I think you'll have some that says this was 100% human content. It'll be kind of like Whole Foods. It'll be the organic produce of the creative world. So you could come in here and you could say, okay, give me 5 choices for a title for this story. You know, because sometimes that's one of the hardest things is coming up with that kind of stuff. So it's going to say, I think, The Candle Wish, A Birthday's Regret, The AI's Dilemma, The Last Light, Reunited by Candlelight, And if you didn't like any of the Reunited by Candlelight, no, you could say, give me 10 instead of 5, or you could say, give me 5 more, or maybe you don't like any of them, but one of them sparked an idea of like, oh yeah, that's close, or it might be spot on for you. But it really helps. Again, you're bouncing off there, and now it looks like it's giving me a little longer titles, maybe titles and then subtitles. Oh, yeah, interesting. The last thing I'll say is that I think we'll always need human writers. I think we'll always have human writers because people love to create. We're created to create.
This cheers me up immensely. They cannot write my work.
Another thing you could do that's something similar, that you could go off of a story that you just maybe made. And you could say, convert this story to a script. But it wrote a short script, getting some of the parts of the story. So what I plan to do next time is we'll take what we did here, and we'll use Google Gemini and Microsoft Copilot, and we'll just compare and see how they do. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found this interesting to see the capabilities of Grok when it comes to creative writing, and we'll see as Grok advances. We'll revisit this and see how it does at a later date. All right, we grok this. So until next time, don't panic.
Write your own bloody robot piece. This cheers me up immensely. They cannot write my work for me. Now you, being a wicked person, might well print it up and put my name on it and make a fortune. But no, those are not my words. What's next on your disgraceful agenda?